Yo, holy crap. Yeah, this is crazy. This I was falling asleep. I'm on 1.5 hours of sleep. I did not fall asleep last night. I have a knee injury. I'm getting surgery. And then I hit Shams. Shout out to Woj, who's sleeping right now. Woj is passed out. He's deep asleep. Happy for you, Woj. I think he saw his notification if he was awake and probably smiled at it and put his head right back onto the pillow because he doesn't have to do this crap anymore. But Kwab, Karl-Anthony Towns goes to the New York Knicks in exchange for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a first-round pick. I am a Knicks fan for those of you who do not follow the dime or who are just coming across the show for the first time. Kwab's a Nets fan. We're going to break it down here for you. Kwab, can I start? Is that okay?
Yeah, man, go ahead. Go.
All right, so my first gut.
The floor is yours.
My first gut was like, oh, I don't know if I like this. And I'll tell you why. So hear me out, people. And this is not the final conclusion that I came to. So just walk with me here. Last year, the New York Knicks, after trading for OG Anunoby, were 13-2 in games that Julius Randle and OG Anunoby shared the floor. There was an undeniable chemistry between the team, not just Julius and OG, between the team. They were ranked high in offensive efficiency, total net rating. They were the best team in the league. So my thought process originally was like, why are we messing with this? Why are we breaking this up? You're not only giving away Julius Randle, you're giving away Dante DiVincenzo, who's a part of the Super Friends. You broke up the Super Friends. They were together for like 2 months, right? You break them up. Dante DiVincenzo, who was a revelation last year, who was your best shooter, you give him up. I get you replace Michael Bridges, but these are the thoughts running through my head. I'm like, I don't know if I like this. Karl-Anthony Towns, very talented individual, definitely a higher ceiling than Julius, spaces the floor better than Julius. But now in my mind, I'm thinking, well, how do we retool this offense? My mind is racing. So at first, my gut reaction was, I don't like this. And I didn't like it at first because it made me think, right? It wasn't like the OG Anunoby trade when I got the notification. I was actually on the Jersey Transit going to Kizzo's when I got the notification. When I got the notification going to Kizzo's, I was just like, oh, this makes sense. Like immediately. Yeah. Like I was sad that Emmanuel quickly got traded. RJ, I'm not an RJ hater, but I could part ways with him. OG was just like, oh yeah, this makes sense. That was my gut reaction. Same thing with the Michael Bridges trade. It was like, yeah, that's a lot to give up, but this makes sense. With Cat, it took me a little bit because the Knicks' defensive identity, even like on the offensive end, it's like, we're going to beat you up. We're going to be physical. And that's just not Cat. Like Cat can do that. I think he's a little disrespected in that sense. I mean, he doesn't really guard the rim with consistency on the defensive end, and he's not really a bully that Julius Randle is. So for me, I'm like, we're losing a little bit of our identity. We are gaining spacing, but we're also going to miss Julius Randle's ball creation. I don't know how I feel about this, but after I calmed down, I talked on a Twitter space for an hour. Shout out to the locker room. Shout out to Gifted Hoops. If you don't follow him, go follow him. We're going to have him on for the Warriors preview. After I talked about it for a little bit, I am okay with this trade. I'm okay with it. I think I am just worried that, I saw a Knicks team at the end of the second half last year gel so well. I saw Donte go from someone who I thought would be a nice bench piece to honestly one of the better two guards in the league. I'm not putting him on the Devin Booker scale, though. I'm not putting up. Think I'm saying he's an all-star, but he's definitely in the upper half of two guards in the league, in my mind at least, especially for what he did in the playoffs and what he did for the Knicks in the regular season. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. It's just going to be different, and I don't know what. I think I'm a little reluctant to change right now, being a Knicks fan, seeing a formula that really worked in the second half, getting OG Anunoby. I don't want to mess with it because we've messed with things before and we keep adding pieces, and now you're kind of changing your identity. It scares me a little bit, Kwab, but I'm here for the ride, baby. I'm here for it. Kwab, your objective take.
I got the notification like everybody did from Shams, and then I got a bunch of text messages from all my friends that are Knicks fans, and it was basically, what the fuck? What just happened? Yo, why? And I think that's pretty much what I keep seeing from like both fan bases. They're just confused about like, yo, why did this happen? Like, it makes no sense. From the Knicks side, this feels like this was a trickle down effect from losing Hardenstein to Oklahoma City.
Yes.
Then Mitch Robinson getting hurt.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, well, your center rotation is Jericho Sims and maybe Julius Randle moving forward. So getting Cat as the center option could have factored into it. don't. This is one of the trades that even we're still waiting for like the full details because I think there's gonna be a third team. I think they said it was Charlotte
Yeah, Bobby Marks was
for
reporting a third team possibly involved.
yeah, because of the second apron and financial reasons. There needs to be a third team involved. So there might be more players that are gonna be moved just for financial reasons. But like it just, uh, I was confused. I'm like it's from both sides because to me, I'm on the I know there are a bunch of Knicks fans that don't like Julius Randle that
Yeah.
are like or either that or they feel indifferent towards him, especially because he was injured during the playoff run. My viewpoint of this upcoming season was, well, you just added Mikal Bridges from my team, which is fine because I love the trade, but you added Mikal Bridges. You look up and down the roster, you have wings, you have shooting. It allows you to play Randall and Bron's like a Randall and Brunson game, a pick and roll game where like it opens up the floor because if you have shooters around, and even if you have a big on the floor, it's still like Randall's very good at creating. And we always have this phrase where we talk about point Randall, where
Yeah.
he can move the ball and dish it, and it would work out if you have enough wings on the floor that are capable shooters. Um, Cat answers a lot of questions for your team, honestly. If you on paper, like he answers a lot of questions. That's a capable shooting big that opens up the floor for Brunson to work and for the wings, and you can potentially put in a lineup of, I guess, Brunson, Hart, Bridges, OG, and Cat as a possible lineup. I I don't know what this looks like though because
Yeah.
but I don't know what it looks like moving forward for your team. I'm just yeah, it's one of those like I might have to sit with it longer than you just to see. I want to see what it looks like moving forward. But I'm just more shocked that I'm shocked at the trade because it wasn't expected. I don't think I expected the Timberwolves to make the trade. I didn't expect the Knicks to make the trade.
Yeah, for me, when I think about the offensive end and having Julius on the offensive end, you have somebody who can handle it on the break, right?
Okay.
Karl-Anthony Towns not handling it on the break, so you can play faster with Julius. You have somebody in the half court who can get into the paint and create for others, drive and kick. Julius can do that. Karl-Anthony Towns is a good passer, but he's a good passer from the top of the key, point of attack. Kind of in a lot of ways that Isaiah Hartenstein is. He's not the same type of passer that Julius is. Julius is I'm going to get into the paint. I'm going to create for others. Now Julius, let's be honest, there are times where he did do that, and there are times where it's like, what on earth are you doing, Julius? Relax. Um, to me, both of them struggle with shot selection. Julius would drive me crazy, with his shot selection sometimes. Karl-Anthony Towns, I mean, as a casual, I mean, I'm not a Timberwolves fan. I'm not a Timberwolves hater, but obviously watching them, I don't have emotion attached, but I'd be like, man, he's taking some dumbass 3-pointers right now. You don't need to do all that. I just think you're changing your offense, right? I think you're going to play more slower paced. Cat's going to stretch the floor more, which is something that you said Isaiah Hartenstein did, and Cat's going to stretch the floor even more because you got to respect the three. What Isaiah
Yep.
didn't have to do that. You had to respect the dribble handoff. You had to respect
The
him
floater.
creating, and then
Yeah.
the floater, but not in the way that Cat does things. I think letting go of Donte. I know it sounds
Yes.
crazy because obviously Julius Randle is the better player, but letting go of Donte is it's what really stung. Because if this was a trade where it's like Knicks traded Karl-Anthony Towns and Julius Randle straight up, which they couldn't do because the salaries didn't match. That's why Donte had to be included in the deal. It was either Donte or Josh Hart, and I
Yeah.
think they kept Hart just for him being a Swiss Army knife. Donte is a better shooter, better offensive player, but Hart is just invaluable what he brings to the table. So I think they chose to keep Hart. Um, for me, letting go of Donte with the season that he had, how he spaces the floor, and I know the Knicks can still space the floor. They still have that ability. It still hurts, man. It still hurts. The combination of Julius and Donte is what makes it like I don't know how much better we got if we did get better. But at the same time, if you get the best player in the deal, the guy with the higher ceiling, I'm not saying you won the deal. I don't look at deals as this team won, this team lost. It could be a win-win for both. It could be. It's just it's not about who's trying to rip the other person off. It's just basically like, am I making my team better? And I think you can. There's a world where both teams answer yes and both teams answer no. My main concern as a Knick fan is chemistry. What does this look like? Do they get their ish together? Do they understand their roles? And for me, when you have four super friends together on a team, everyone understands their role. When OG was traded over, the Knicks had no problem understanding their roles. And I don't know, man. It's just like I said before. I'm going to be completely honest here. I think I'm a little bit hesitant to change. As a
Yeah.
Knicks fan, I've been very scarred in the past with change, and that's what scares me. But I do think the ceiling is higher now. I don't.
You think
I
it's
just
higher
don't.
now?
I do. I do.
Okay.
I think it's higher now. What scares me a little bit is Cat's rim protection. He was awful in the playoffs last year. When rim protection, he would go bare there. I know you're going to have Mitch. I wonder if Thibodeau is going to have Cat at the 4 or some lineups. I'm sure he's going to experiment with that. Mitch at the
Yeah, I mean,
5. I mean,
depending
I
on
guess
when
it
Mitch
just
gets back, and then I guess
yeah,
Jericho Sims will also play some 5. Yeah.
yeah. So for me, the fit, I I get it. I get it. I get
like
it.
I like I get it, but
I'm not doing backflips. I'm not doing backflips.
my,
I'm not punching the wall. You know what I mean? I'm not going crazy, but I'm not doing backflips either. It's one of those things where it's like, Leon, I hope you know what you're doing, bro. Like,
my thing was coming into this year with the Knicks. I was looking at it, the big picture was Tibbs has more players that he trusts.
yeah,
Even with the Mikal Bridges trade coming in, like obviously Mikal's probably gonna start and play a huge load of minutes because that's what he does. But with Donte, he earned Tibbs' trust. Julius has had it like forever. Brunson, all that. So that it gave Tibbs more options in terms of minutes and player rotations. Uh, Losing Donte might be really big for y'all just because he hit a lot of clutch shots
he was
for
so
the team.
clutch last year, bro.
It's a lot of clutch shots. So somebody's gonna have to step in that role, either like I guess off the bench or just
I mean, Mikal can do it. OG, when he was healthy, he was clutch as hell. Jalen Brunson's Jalen Brunson.
yeah,
I'm not worried about that. To me, like I said before, I'm going to say that 100 times probably by the end of this. We're probably going to record for like 3 minutes, but it's chemistry. Like for me, it's
yeah.
just chemistry. Like that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about. Kwab, I do want to ask you what's the plan here for Minnesota? I'll go back to the spaces I was in. They hated the deal for Minnesota. I don't hate the deal for Minnesota. I think they needed a shooter like Donte to spread the floor. And I think with Julius Randle, yeah, if you think about it, like paired with Gobert, it's a mess. But like who paired with Gobert is actually a nice fit. You know what I mean? It's not
Cat,
like was he?
Cat, Nas Reed, yeah, because they
Oh,
were
Nas Reed, yeah. So for
versatile
me,
shooting bigs. Like it. Okay,
but
let's
that's also
go ahead.
kind of Julius. That's my point. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's not a better shooter than Nas. I'm not saying he's a better shooter than Cat. But Julius, you have to respect him from 3.
Do you?
Yes, you do.
Do
You do.
you?
Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you
I'm
do.
the, I don't want to. That's gonna sound like I'm slandering Julius. I'm not,
Yeah.
but from my perspective, right? Like games I would watch against the Knicks, when my team would play the Knicks, right? The best thing for me when I would watch like Nets games against the Knicks was when Julius would hit his first 3.
Because you know
I
he's taken 3 straight step factory. Well, that's no. Yes, yes. I agree with you. I agree with you in that aspect.
would
What I am
be
saying is that
and
you
go ahead.
my whole point, you're not packing the paint with Julius out there on the that's my point. You're not packing the
But
paint with Julius.
my thing is with Cat and like it was there's more packing that it's less like with
Yes,
Julius you
you're
can
right.
To me, Julius strength has always been like he's a bully, like
Yeah.
driving downhill, getting to the rim. If he'll converge, he's able to kick out or draw fouls. That's always been his thing. He's been able to do it even with like with like centers on the floor when he played on Knicks. It's worked out. I don't know. Actually, let me go back with what you asked with the Timberwolves. I don't know how they can justify it. You're trying to justify it by saying like they didn't want to pay Cat because I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that's
Second
the whole
apron.
thing. Yeah, the second apron aid. But my whole thing with that has always been this: these owners, you have the money. Stop,
Yeah, sure.
stop, stop! Like stop! I hate that like excuse like oh I don't want to pay extra like You have the money, bro. You're like you got the money. Like stop. Like that's
Yeah.
it's just a tax. And the term apron has been like used and overused at this point since the new CBA. Like it's just a tax. Like it's just a tax. Just pay the tax. Your team just made a beautiful run in the playoffs. Amazing run in the playoffs. The to the point where like people were saying that, well, the Rudy Gobert trade wasn't that bad because I remember when the Rudy trade happened, we were actually together in we're in Miami when it happened,
Yeah, we
and
remember.
we were. I remember we were in a car and we're just like, why would you make this trade? This makes no sense. Like
Yeah.
these two, like we were shocked at how much they gave up to get Rudy, but you watch them against the Nuggets where they weren't favored against the Nuggets. I didn't pick them against the Nuggets. A lot of people didn't pick them against the Nuggets, but they were able to beat the Nuggets and Jokic because of that two big lineup.
Yeah.
And because of how they were able to guard Jokic, which most teams couldn't. Like
That's
Cat did
facts.
a good
Their
job.
size is the reason,
Their
a big reason
size.
why they won that. You're right.
Yeah, and nobody like I get that people talk about how Cat is like they talk about Cat's defense and all this. Cat was the best defender on Jokic throughout the whole playoffs. And his whole thing was like he couldn't stay out of foul trouble. But when he was on the court, he helped them win.
Yeah.
Making this trade after you made a run, and also Cat, who was wanted to be in Minnesota, like has never requested to be out, even when they were terrible, has wanted to be in Minnesota this whole time. This is the stuff that makes people look at the NBA and look at the owners and be like, well, get your money because it's a business. At the end of the day, like you got to look at it as a business. Just get your money, and because there's really no loyalty when it comes down to it. I don't. People are saying that like Randall is a better fit because of his attitude, the way he plays. Like he would be a better fit with Ant. I don't know how it looks like on the floor with
Yeah.
Rudy and like space, and like I don't know how that
Yeah.
looks on the
To
floor.
me, I think getting Rob Dillingham, I think the T-Wolves the past couple of years, they've increased their pace. I think they want to start running more. This is my guess. It's a hypothetical. I have no idea. I could be wrong about
Mm.
this. I think they want to run more. I think what you saw last year, especially against the Mavs, you run into a situation where Anthony Edwards is the only one who's actually really creating his own shot. And you could
Mm.
say whatever you want about Julius Randle. Julius Randle can create offense for his own, and he can drive and kick, and he can create offense for others. Now, yes, he has his downfalls, and yes, sometimes he can go over the edge, and it's like, why are you spitting into a triple team? But Julius can do that. He can also lead a fast break. There are different aspects that Julius brings to the table that the Minnesota Timberwolves did not have. Yes,
Mm.
they give up spacing. You give up. There's no doubt. I'm not arguing that Julius Randle's spacing is going to be the same with Cat. You're right about that. You give up that, but I do think you make your offense a little more versatile, a little,
Yeah.
and adding Donte is adding a shooter who is, I wouldn't say they desperately needed, but they needed another knockdown 3-point shooter. You know, you cannot crowd the paint if you have Donte and Jaden on the wings. You can't. Jaden shot, I think, like 35-36% from the three last year, which is respectable. You know, you're not gonna leave Ant open. So to me, I
But
think Dante's the card here that's making me go, damn, I don't know how much I like this for the Knicks. And you know what? This may not be that bad for the Timberwolves. If it was just a straight up swap, I'd be
mm.
like, okay, with the Knicks, I got this. It's the Donte factor.
But then
Um,
what's the lineup with that then?
for who? Minnesota?
Yeah, because you're saying
I
like
don't I
with
don't I don't know I don't know what role Rob Dillingham's gonna have as opposed to Mike Connolly.
backup
Jaden
probably.
McDaniels is obviously going to be starting because he's your best defender. Donte, you could bring him off the bench. You could start him at the 2. They can have a small lineup with Julius Randle and Naz Reid, which I don't know how well that would work, but the Knicks were going
I'm,
to flip
I'm
Julius
I
Randle
was
to
gonna
5.
say
So
I'm just saying because the one is Ann is starting at the 2. That's guaranteed.
yeah,
Jaden is starting at the 3 because he's like you said your best defender. That's gone.
and then you got Donte off the bench. Then
Then you got Dante off the bench, like so, which I guess like you said gives them more shooting. But then they had Nickel Alexander Walker who also stepped in, but he had some inconsistent moments.
he's not Donte. He's not Donte.
He's not he's not Dante.
And Jaden is not Donte either from the 3-point line. He's not. Jaden can shoot, but he's not Donte.
He's not Dante. I'm not saying he's not Dante, but the
Yeah.
one thing that helped the Wolves was those two players are two of the best like perimeter defenders in the league. So
Yes. So
you're sacrificing, not even actually. I
not
can't say
really.
that because
Dante's a good
Dante's a
defender,
good
man.
defender. Dante's a good defender. I
He's
can't say
not.
that.
He's not out. He's not. You're right. He's not those guys, but he's good. He's
He's
good.
not. He's a really good. Dante's a really good defender. He's a really good
Yeah.
defender. Let me tell you that he's a really good defender. I'm just again to make that trade because of financial reasons is
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah,
If
especially this,
it's basketball reasons, I get it.
yeah.
Financial reasons, I'm never, because you're just being, to me, when I hear like, oh no, they didn't want to pay it, stupid. It's stupid.
You have the money, A-Rod. You
You
have the
have the
money.
money. You have the money. You just see so many. I've just seen so many fans from the Wolf side. You're just so upset about this because regardless of how, like, I guess the outside feels about Cat, they like Cat.
They do.
They
Yeah.
like Cat. They're like they F with Cat, like they like Cat. So it's like they're surprised at this. So he's a Knick now. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, yes or no question. All right, yes or no question. Are the Knicks now championship contenders? It's a long ass pause. That's a no. If you can't
I
answer
don't
yes right
know.
away, if you
I
nah,
don't know.
it's
You know, because it
it's
look,
it's a
I
no.
say this right.
That's a no from you, bro.
No, because yeah, it cut like besides we're talking about like if everybody's healthy, right? You can make a case for about 3 or 4 teams in the East
Yeah, I agree.
easily to come out the East. Even you can even stretch that to like 4 or 5 somehow.
I
Like
agree.
if you know what I mean,
4.
in the East, because
4.
I say you could. Who you got? Who you got on your top right now?
Boston
Boston.
1, New York
Okay.
2,
Okay.
Milwaukee 3, Philly 4.
Okay.
I don't
You don't
believe in the Pacers. I'm sorry.
you don't
I
believe in the
don't.
Pacers. You don't.
Cavs are second round back. Like the Magic are still too young. The Wizards maybe.
That's a lot.
No,
Sorry,
but to
sorry.
me it's that 4. It's those 4.
Yeah. So you probably have that for, but we always talk about this. A lot of things have to go right for you to get out, like to win a championship or to be a
Yeah,
championship contender. A lot of things
100%.
have to go right.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that in your opinion, you thought the Pacers were better than the Knicks last season.
They weren't. The Knicks were just in the hospital. I mean,
They were playing ER. Just
yeah, I mean the whole team, half the team was in the hospital. They were at Mount Sinai watching.
you know what I'm saying? So like there's that. Also, you can regardless how you feel, if you guys could be the number 2 seed this upcoming playoffs. If you guys end up matching up with the Heat, I'm gonna pick the Heat over you
I
guys.
hate you so much. I hate you. I hate you. It's funny because I didn't even think of the Heat when you were naming like
No,
they never come to my head. And you're right. Then the Heat are going to Eastern Conference Finals next year. I hate you.
I'll pick the Heat because I'm just like they're gonna be
Stop.
there, and then
Stop.
you're gonna be like, oh, the Knicks
Stop.
got it, and then the Heat are gonna be
Stop.
like, oh, but let me
Stop.
introduce you to Josh Christopher. Have you seen this guy that you
Yeah.
think of? And he's gonna
Yeah.
give you guys 40. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Is
that,
that create a player too? That wow,
so
create a player two is going
it's just killing
averaging
you guys
20, averaging 22
again.
and 5 and again in the playoffs.
It's like, oh man, this JUCO player that the Miami Heat just signed just came off the bench and gave you 50. Nah, but in all seriousness, um, I I need to see what it looks like. Just are you championship contenders? You can make the case you guys are easily because you still have Brunson. You still have if OG's healthy, you have a healthy OG. Um, like you said, Josh Hart, Bridges is if
Yeah.
he can return to form from because he had a down year. And picking up Cat, regardless how everybody feels about him, he's a versatile big man. Can do a
Oh,
lot
he's
of things on the
fantastic.
floor.
He's a
Yeah,
fantastic basketball player. He's a fantastic basketball
opens
player.
up opens up the floor for y'all. Because if
Yeah.
some of his best season was when he on the Timberwolves was when he played a 5 because he was a mismatch.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of centers that can guard him the way he opens up the floor for
He's
your
basically
guards.
what the Knicks are going to use him the way that
Mhm.
the Celtics use KP.
Yeah,
That's what I think. That's going to be his role
yeah.
on the offensive end. All right. Question for the Timberwolves. Now, it was kind of just well accepted that the Timberwolves were championship contenders before this trade. So my
Yeah.
question to you is now are they out of being championship contenders?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did
Again,
this trade take them out? Did this trade make you go, pump the brakes, Minnesota?
Yeah, I would initially pump the brakes, but you made a lot of great points about Randall and like changing the pace, being a better, being just a shot creator for them, and if they're able to figure out like I guess the chemistry and being able to play together with all these new pieces, you still have Ant, you still
Yeah.
have the common factor of Mike Conley, that's your big, you still have the 12th-time defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert. That pisses off Shaq every time he sees that. But you still have all these, you still have capable players. Again, like you could
Fantastic wing
make that,
defenders. Yeah.
yeah, wing defenders. You can make that case, but again, just like in comparison to like the East, the West is a freaking like madhouse.
West is weird, bro.
The West is a madhouse.
Yeah.
There's so many teams I can be like, yeah, if you match up with them, you're gonna lose. Like,
Right. It comes down to matchups. I think the Mavericks mostly just got the matchups that they needed. Because if they saw Denver, they would have got smacked.
yeah,
I think the only team that could have beat Denver last year probably was the Minnesota Timberwolves because of the size that you mentioned.
so,
They ran into
yeah,
the wrong team. I think if Denver doesn't play the Timberwolves, they win the championship again. That's me personally. I could be wrong. That's no slight to the Celtics. Congratulations, you won. That's just how I feel.
I don't know
But yeah, the West, a lot of it is matchups. Because I don't think
yeah.
the Mavs aren't the best team in the West to me. They're not. I
In your opinion, they're
it,
not the best team in the West. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, honestly, I got to see how the Timberwolves play now. But if they were like, yo, let's run this back, I'd be like, nah, the Timberwolves are gonna get them this time. They're gonna figure it out.
yeah. In your opinion, who do you think is the best in the West?
Never. I'd still take the Nuggets.
Take the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Okay, even with
What about you?
Russ.
What's up?
Even with Russ.
I don't know, man. If you would have asked me before this trade, I think I would have said the Timberwolves because
Same.
I've been saying since like second round of the playoffs last year, like it's not gonna happen this year, but next year the NBA Finals is gonna be the New York Knicks versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. I've not.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
been my thing. And
I
now it's not so much I think the Wolves got worse with this trade. It's I don't know what I don't know. I
I
can
don't know.
see my whole case about Donte and my whole case about Julius bringing more versatility was like, this is probably why they did it. And best case scenario. Now it could fall on its head. Like Julius can turn into like 2022 Julius, whatever that year was, where he was just terrible efficiently. He was taking horrible shots. He was, that's the thing with Julius. You never really know. So yeah, I could see why someone looks at this deal like, what are we doing? But I also think if I'm a Timberwolves fan and I'm close to jumping out the window, listen to me. Julius is
Yeah.
an all NBA player,
Yeah.
2-time all NBA player. There's a lot of good with Julius Randle, and I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss Julius. I respect Julius so much because when this team missed out on Kyrie, when this team missed out on KD, they got Julius Randle, and everybody was like, Julius Randle, that's what we got with Julius. And Julius Randle is you can say whatever the hell you want. Maybe Thibodeau is in the same sentence, but Julius Randle is the number one reason why the Knicks are where they are today. If it wasn't for
Yeah.
Julius Randle's ascension and him
Yeah.
taking a step forward, we don't acquire some of these players. We don't make the play, like we don't get taken seriously as a franchise. So you could say whatever you want about Julius Randle and how much his game upset you. At the end of the day, Julius Randle's presence on the New York Knicks team and on the roster is a reason why the Knicks are championship contenders now, even though he's not on the roster anymore. His ceiling is capped. Yes, I get it. Maybe he doesn't take you to the promised land, but you know what? He set us up, and I'm forever grateful for Julius.
It's facts. Facts. I agree with that. I
All
definitely
right.
agree with that.
So Kwab and I, we're going to be releasing team previews soon, so be a lookout for that. We promise to be more consistent this year. There's a lot of things going on in our lives. I'm getting knee surgery. Kwab's working a different job where he's basically getting up at the ass crack of dawn, but we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I actually was going to do some long form content, and the first video I was going to drop was about the Knicks not trading, telling the Knicks not to trade Julius Randle. And guess what? I wrote about a 12-page script that I now have to burn. All right, well, listen, you can follow The Dime on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Dime NBA. I'm Josh at Josh_Rodriguez_. He's Kwab at Kwab AKS. We will see you next time for another episode of The Dime. Peace.